there. Welcome to Unruly by Nature. This is episode 20, and my name is Kim Howatt. And I am here with my good friends, Sue Mim and Rachel Knott. I can't believe it's episode 20, and we are just having as much fun now as we were on episode 1. We don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm thinking of a question right now because I didn't think of one before. So while I'm thinking, I'm going to remind you to like and subscribe because we love to have people ask us questions, make comments. And I also want to tell you that we are going to go on a bit of a summer holiday. So after episode 20, we are ending our season 1, and we will be back July 8th with episode 21 and the beginning of season 2. So for now, what I would like to ask you ladies, I guess request of you more than ask, is we were talking about what a miracle life is. And I would just love if you would tell us all a story from the past 2 weeks or your recent past, if you haven't had anything miraculous happen, just about something in life that you have found awesome. It could be dog related, not dog related. We have no rules here at Unruly by Nature. So, Rachel, I'm going to pick on you.
Oh, I was just about to make some notes because a couple
I
of
saw
things
that.
that it's the teacher in me. Um, well, when you said it, I thought miraculous. I I thought when we think miraculous, we think grandiose, don't we? We think like the Big
Mhm.
Bang, or we think something huge, like someone that has never been able to walk can now walk. But that's what we deem to be miraculous. uh, I really believe it is the teeny, teeny, tiny things that are miraculous. We were just talking about, or I was talking about insects before we jumped on the call, and there's someone I follow on Instagram, and they do amazing close ups of insects. Just just the complexity and simplicity of all of the other beings that occupy this planet Earth, I think is incredible that we all seem to, for the most part, get on and cohabit. So I think the miracles are your everyday moments. Like coming back from being out with my girlfriend on Sunday, and Darcy been on her own for maybe 2.5 hours. And our routine is we come in and she does a bum wiggle and is like her whole body is bouncing and vibrating with excitement. We open the back door and she runs out, and then she does this little leap, like we're all four paws come off the ground, leaps onto the grass, and we go, yay, and clap. And for whatever reason, in this moment, she then came back and did it again and again and again and again. And it was so that I don't know that you would call that a miracle, but it felt so good. It that I feel it's the little things. It's the things that we take for granted. And even though I've been communicating with animals for a few years now, I still think it's a freaking miracle that I connect with an animal, the other side of the world, like a cat I was talking to in Sydney, never met the person before. And this being will share with me in great detail about their home and their loves and their relationship and its full color. That for me is still a freaking miracle. That it's mind blowing, mind bending. So and it's not fake gratitude. I think that's the other thing. I think maybe because there is a lot of uh, I'm just not a fan of the fake positivity and the fake gratitude. Like like I used to do the whole, I'm going to wake up and list 20 things I'm grateful for. And it would be like a real effort as opposed to it being an organic. And I think those sort of forced positive gratitude things actually cover up our true feelings. So we then miss the true like miracles that are everywhere in every moment. That's my answer.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the little things, like you said, Rachel. It doesn't have to be a big, yeah, it doesn't have to be a big fireworks thing. It is the miraculous in every little moment and every little day. So yeah, so many for me, but I think overall what led this me to start really recognizing this is that I've been doing a lot more creativity. I've been drawing and painting and crafting a lot more. And particularly rose has come to me. I've been just drawn to roses in a big way. And so I needed to, as I was painting it, I couldn't get the petals right. And I knew I had to go out and look at roses and really just look at the structure of the petals and everything. And going out into the garden and doing that. Um, and I just was in awe, as you say. It's not a fake gratitude. It's a sense of awe when you realize just all the things that are happening in your garden under your nose, and you walk past it every day and you don't even know. Yeah, so it was my attention to detail has been focused, let's say, refocused in the last couple of weeks. And I think it's that attention to detail of the natural world, particularly the natural world around me, that has just made me like a child again. I'm just like, oh, this is so fascinating. This is, just so wonderful. One example is that a couple of weeks ago, the peonies, the peony flowers,
Lovely.
and I walked up and they were all buds still. They hadn't actually flowered. And I walked up and I looked at each one of these. I was looking at the buds and I saw little ants crawling along each of them. And I remembered a story that my one of Hubie's, it was actually Hubie's mum who originally told me, my hubby's mum told me, is that the ants are needed in order to open. It's like there's a tight green, let's say, I will call it a skin, but it's not. It's like the tight green petal, the outer petals, and the ants need to come and actually use their little, teeth, their mandibles or whatever they have to actually cut open that shell. And that's when the bud can start to open. And so the bud actually can't open without the ants. You need these little ants to come on there and to sort of sever the outer green petal layer so that the thing can start opening. And it's just like, to me, that is just like this whole little ecosystem that's happening, and all these mutual, what is the word, like a mutual beneficial symbiotic relationships and all these things happening. And they're happening all the time. And we feel we're so apart from that. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't. But then I sort of, then watching a little bumblebee and watching him put his legs full of pollen, and then he was getting buzzier and buzzier and louder and louder, and I could like feel his excitement, It was, again, just this childlike curiosity of this fantastic, magnificent world we live in. To me, it's just miraculous. And then you realize just how much you're missing in humanhood, if I can call it that. We become so wrapped up in our own lives and our own little dramas, and we forget that we're part of this incredible thing. Our bodies are incredible, everything
Mm.
about us, and we're part of that ecosystem. So to me, it's just, yeah, like looking at the stars and realizing it's just is a miraculous universe.
Mhm.
What a,
It is. I love it. I love it. I I get all giddy because, like, I agree with you too on every level that it is the tiniest things that make the biggest impact. And we've talked about it before, but I think it's just this, it's always a practice, right? We always practice awareness. And it's that practice of awareness of just noticing the beautiful things that are all around you. The spider that's building its web, and I started to say nest. The
well,
spider
that's
Some
that's
that
of
too.
them do, I think.
the spider, not in our house, thankfully. The spider building the web in the corner that helps, like, the flies, and we've got a insane amount of flies somehow this spring, and, and it's that spider's set up for its whole life. He's got a feast every day, he doesn't even have to hunt for it, and, I think for me, what I've really been watching is we have right outside our door, we have a robin's nest, like, built in the wood that is like a frame against our window, portico, I guess, like, and it's so we can stand inside and watch, and we're waiting for the babies to be born, and there was, 4, I think, a few weeks back, and I'm just amazed at watching how they work, and, like, the mom is so patient. She just sits in there, and then she's going to get food, and then, after the birds are born and the beaks are clamoring, and it's like, I just envision, like, us with, like, little toddlers screaming at us, and, like, the mom's just got frazzled hair, and she's running and, like, trying to, like, make everyone really happy, and this bird just goes and gets a worm and then a cricket and then and not only is it their ability to so easily get food and bring it back. I mean, I don't even know where she's going to find these creatures, right? But they're there for her, and then the little babies, they, like, jump out and, like, fly, and it's within 7-10 days. I mean, it's not a long period of time. And you watch, like, a deer being born, and it gets up in minutes. A calf, and I mean, humans take a year.
20
It's like
years before they can leave home.
I mean, and it's amazing how, like, I mean, even puppies are what, like, a few weeks before they open their eyes, and other animals just get up and go, and they're like, "Alright, I'm good," and I love watching ducks with, like, the little baby ducklings trailing behind, and I mean, it's just watching life in the spring for me is it's astounding. We had a woodpecker on our tree the other day, and it was just so amazing to watch this little redhead woodpecker. It was just like bang, 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 banging away on the tree, and you know, it didn't ask permission to get on the tree. It just did it, and the tree's like, "Alright," and there's probably something in the tree that needed to be getting a little more airflow, so
Need some air conditioning in here.
yeah, I think everything, like, just flows when you watch it,
Yeah.
and I just did you gals feel the energy of this full moon?
And I didn't go out into the full moon at all, but I did realize it because I couldn't sleep, and then I looked and I suddenly realized it's full moon. Yeah, wild dreams and yeah.
Mm,
Yes, when was it? Was it
uh,
because
May
I have had
31st.
wild dr fine, no. I I had wild dreams a week ago before. Maybe it was in the build-up.
Could
Yeah.
be.
I mean, it was the 2nd full moon of May, so it was like that doesn't happen very often, and so it was just I noticed it being particularly, like, Sue, like you, like, just I was restless at night,
Mm.
I think. Not in a what I mean, not in a bad way, I mean, it was I sort of just chuckled because I knew it was the full moon and, the dogs are amped up
Yeah.
and our dogs do get very excited during the full moon, so extra barky.
Do you know, that's not something I'm I've noticed personally, but maybe I need to clock that, the patterns
Yeah.
of the full moon.
Well, here it was really interesting. Here where I live in Austria, they're quite specifically in in sort of outer town areas, not the big cities, where it's still very much a farming culture. A lot of people do things by the moon calendar. And my sister-in-law was well, she's retired now, but she was a preschool teacher. And she always used to say they knew around the full moon, the kids in the kindergarten would always start playing up. They would always be no, really. As she said, you can literally clock it. She said, you know when it's full moon because the kids start playing up. And because you were talking about the animals, Kim, but young kids are equally as affected. So they will be, and it could be that they're more irritable because they're not sleeping at night or because whatever. But it's just generally that it seems, that young kids and animals are a lot more sensitive to the moon cycles and then particularly the full moons. And
Yeah,
I remember, well, sorry, Kim, when I had one of my kids, I can't remember which one, but I remember what do you call it in English? The nurse who delivers your baby? Midwife.
Midwife.
The
That's it.
midwife said to me, she said to me, the most babies are born during the full moon phase. If they look at the statistics, most babies are born within a parameter of 3 days before and 3 days after the full moon, and particularly on the full moon. Natural birth happens.
Wow.
Most babies are born in that time.
That's
Interesting.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, see there, that's like a miracle in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just everything seems so complex. Like the universe, our bodies, the way life happens, like Sue, you said it, what we make of life
Mm,
and all the schedules and all the busyness and all of this. And I just there's just this nagging part of me that says it's so much simpler.
mm,
I just watch the birds and they take care of their little ones. They do the things that they need to do. They fly around. It's like sometimes I'm assuming it's the couple they're both in the nest. And then, the other day I was sitting out and like the one flew out and I'm guessing it was the male flew out and the female
husband, you
followed it
wanted to say.
and just was
Yeah, it's like
nagging the crap. It was just nagging the crap out of it. And I'm like, that was definitely the daddy first. And the mommy's like, and don't forget this at the store when you go. And I just, we have such similarity because we are nature. Humans are nature. We don't have to go into nature. We are organic, living part of everything else. But for some reason, we don't understand that, I think, sometimes when we get caught up in all the things.
When you're saying all of that, Kim, the two things that are coming to me is that the ebb and flow. Well, I mean, it could be ebb, 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 flow, flow, ebb, flow. There is a rhythm that because I think we like to think our way through things, don't we? As opposed to feel our way through things. And I think 3 days ago, so interesting that you say about the full moon. So I am actually reflecting back. 3 days ago, I had just this a huge amount of emotion come up and through me, and I was really tearful. And I can't even remember what the words were I was saying. My partner just said, just share, tell me how you're feeling. And then it just moved. It kind of shifted through me, but I couldn't rationalize it or work out what it was per se. So I just moved with it. So I feel there is a rhythm that that's we're all part of. I mean, it'll
Mm,
be individual and collective, but the other word that comes to me when you're saying, but you didn't use the word disconnect, but selfish. So we think being selfish is a bad thing. I don't know why I've got my pencil out.
yes, you like teaching us.
We, and I hear this a lot actually, particularly from women. Is it, if you were to be told you're selfish, you would think that was awful. Like, oh no, I'm self-centered. But everything in nature is entirely selfish. Dogs are entirely selfish in that they do what they need to do for themselves, knowing that the rest of the ecosystem will benefit from that because we are all connected. So I don't, the bees are selfish, but the result is a selfless result. So the bees are like selfishly, going to the plants they're drawn to go to. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? So I think the word selfish is banded around as if it's something you should not be selfish, which basically is saying you shouldn't do the things you're drawn to do. You should constantly think of others. But if you think more of yourself and reflect more on what you need and what you honestly want and feel and self-reflect, then you're more aligned with, I don't know, I feel we need to flip that word, that it's not a bad thing. It should be encouraged. And yeah, like I'm totally selfish in my work. in that I'm doing the work I love to do, knowing that others, I'm not doing it because I want others to benefit necessarily. I'm doing it because I can't not do it. I love animal communication. I love essential oils. I love teaching. I love having time off and the freedom that being self employed does. It's a purely selfish endeavor, but the outcome is selfless because I know others are benefiting. And so there's this, seesaw effect constantly. So I just think people should be more selfish, not in a narcissistic way, in a what lights you up. Do that.
Mm,
I think that I know exactly what you're saying, and I think the word selfish or selfless, either neither of them actually fit
No.
what I think you are saying. Like you said, it's more to be in alignment and go with the flow with what you are made to do, what your innate drive, purpose, that's what, like you say, that an insect or an animal is just driven to do what they do because that's natural for them. It's not a case of being selfish or not selfish or whatever. It's just they're just doing what feels right for them, what feels aligned with them. And that's I think what we need to move away from the is it who's it benefiting, who's it not benefiting, by being our true selves, by being aligned and doing the things that feel right for us, will, as you say, be aligned with the bigger ecosystem, with the
Yeah.
have the benefits for everyone. So we need to find another word.
Well, I
mm,
think I use that word because it's a word that's used all the time. So people will actively avoid being selfish
Yeah.
because they think they shouldn't do what they
mhm.
need for themselves. So it yeah, we do need another word, but I think also it's knowing that selfish isn't bad.
Mm-mm.
It's not an inherently bad thing. It's just I feel like it's come from religion, dare I say it. It feels like you know, I'm just hearing people saying you should be selfless, that everything is about being selfless and doing things for other people. Well, that's lovely and great, but if you're never really listening to who you are and what you want, all you're going to end up is being very angry and bitter and
Mm,
resentful. So it
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
sort of feels it doesn't make sense to me, really.
I Man, I think you just hit on something so good, and I gotta try to make sense of it. But, you said we have to try to be selfless, and that just means not being you.
Yeah.
You're being for everyone else, and I do think that we need another word for selfish, but the things that stood out for me was, first of all, I noticed how much you said the word reflection, and we were talking about the moon, which was pretty cool. But, like, the push and pull, like, of life, I think when we get pulled towards something and we deny that in ourself, it doesn't it's not of service to anyone else, and just like you were saying with the bees and the animals and how they do things for themselves that are natural to them, it's the same for us. When we feel pushed to do something, it's probably at that time, it's not something for us, but we do it out of obligation or guilt or whatever the reason might be. But I think when we feel ourselves really pulled towards something and we deny it, we just create resistance and frustration and angst. And I mean, I can speak to that with writing my novel. I denied it every which way I possibly could. And what happened in my body was I got sick. And what happened in my mind was I got frustrated and angry. And at the end of the day, was any of that wrong? Did I make a bad choice? No, I didn't, because those emotions and those things that came up needed to come up. And so it's the miraculousness of life
Mm.
that is helping me go through this process of myself. And again, I've watched our dogs go through it when Sam came towards the end of her life, or Zori hurts herself running in the yard and how they work their way through that, and they don't come to us and expect us to service them forever. They take care of life in the best way they can in that moment, and that's when we realize we're doing that every moment of every day, that's the miracle for
Mm,
me, and it might be today I'm sad. It like, when you released a lot of emotions around the full moon, that's a very natural process
Yeah.
to let and most people try to stop it and stifle it and, like, "I don't wanna be sad right now," or, "I can't be sad right now because I
mm,
have dinner plans in 15
mm,
minutes."
mm,
And then but they never go back to resolve it.
Or what have I got to be sad about? I should be grateful. La la la
mm,
la. As
mm.
opposed
Yeah. And I mean, sadness, anger, happiness, joy, all those things are natural emotions. So, it's we will feel stress. Animals feel stress. I mean, if a lion's chasing down a gazelle, that gazelle feels some pressure, but it's just natural that they deal with it and it happens how it happens. And when we have a full moon, it's a releasing time. And then when we have like a new moon, it's a time to bring in, and so the fact that you released, I think, is just it is that little miracle that we're talking about, it's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, lots of little things that the natural flow, as you say, just let life does itself. That's a big thing that I'm really learning lately is life carries on with itself. We think we have to direct it and we have to make choices and we have to do this and we have to, get things done in order to go a specific way. And really life just gets on with itself. Do you know what I mean? We actually can really just step out of the way and go with our life, go with the flow versus trying to think that we are directing it all. Um, because that's what there's a phase in my life where with personal growth and you are well you're going to manifest your life and you're going to direct it exactly the way you want it to be and this is you're going to create this and well no you
Feels a bit
think you
rigid.
you think you are but when the hiccups come up, oh, well, that's just, I was pushing too hard. I'm not supposed to go there. But you know what? Just let it go and you will be led to the right things at the right time. And you'll be led to some things that you think, well, that's the wrong thing. It's not. Like you
Yeah,
said, Kim, it's just that's the next part. That's the next part on your, the next stepping stone on your path to get you to the next place. That's just the way it is. And so just relaxing and allowing life to just take its course versus trying to steer and make it go in certain directions, I think is just it's a softening. It's a softening into life. And then
Yes.
you realize again just how miraculous it just takes care of itself. Doesn't need you actually to.
mm, beautifully said. So, how do you think that plays into I don't know if I'm gonna try to articulate this. How do you think that, like, that attitude of allowing life comes into play with the pressure we put on ourselves with relation to our companion animals, our dogs and cats, and what do we feel our responsibility is, and is it hyper responsibility? Is it something do we put way too much pressure on ourselves, and what are some ways we can maybe help tame that?
It came to me, then it went. I'm going to say that yes, we are definitely hyper responsible for our dogs. And I think that because we think we're the center of the universe and the we have all the answers as the humans, which when I walked Darcy today and I fell down another hole, reminds us that, I don't run the world.
Really?
So I feel that God, we've said this before. I just think we're living with an intelligent being that is part of nature and doesn't have all of the constructs that we have. And I just think it's when we lean more into the partnership rather than the parent role. It's fine to have the parent role sometimes, but I think more with Darcy, I'd say I'm much more in a partnership role with her, like a consenting. The other day, it's just something silly, we're doing something really silly. We're in my bedroom and I had different items of clothing. And I said to Darcy, "Oh, I wonder what you'd look like with this on your head." And, it was like a pair of pants and then another one was a jumper. But every time I'd say to her, consent, which I've not taught her the word consent or whatever. I was like, consent. And then she'd stick her head in. Like, it's not just for fun, right? It's not going to do any harm or any benefit, but it was just this conversation. I'm like talking to her with intelligence. She has this intelligence. Of course they all do. So I feel like it comes back to the human being thinks we are the leader and that we're more intelligent than they are, because we do. I mean, I don't now, but I definitely would have thought I needed to work everything out because I'm the human being and I'm responsible for her. And even just words like pet or guardian or, the words that we use, they're not bad words, but they give us an idea of how we're coming out of the relationship. I don't know if that's answered the question, but that's what's popped into my head for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of, I mean, not stuff that we've already discussed. Like we have said before, it is this over responsibility that we feel for. Hyper responsibility is a better word, like you used, Kim. It leads to so much stress. Do you know what I mean? More and more now, I'm helping my clients, and it's not always easy because they're coming to me as a professional and they want answers. If they want me to give the advice that they think needs to be given. But more and more, I'm encouraging them to listen and to listen to their intuition and to just spend more time just being with their animals and learning to understand them and to build this relationship, because that's where you're going to have the best results. And when I say
Yeah.
results, is that you're going to have a relationship with your animal where you can communicate with them at a much deeper level, and you do understand what the other being wants, and you are empathetic to them, to their needs, and at the same time empathetic to your own needs, etc. And then you can find the middle way. Do you know what I mean? You find a way in that relationship just like you would in a human one. So for me, yeah, it's stop thinking that everybody else has the answers, and start, like you said, treat your animal like an intelligent being and start to build. There's nothing wrong with learning and getting help from other people, but then start putting into action yourself and start experimenting. And you're not going to break your animal. You can't. They're intelligent beings, as you said. And the more we give them the space to open those communication channels, and I'm talking physical and sort of mental, if you want to call it psychic communication channels, you will see that there will be that your animals will be able to lead you in some situations. And so it is a partnership, just like you said, Rachel. It's very ongoing and it's very dynamic.
Yeah, it's such a big topic, I think, where I see clients come to me and say, well, you can communicate with animals and I can't. And it's just this blind spot where they are always communicating with their animal. And I think one thing I try to say, and, one day maybe people will believe it, is that you are. And when you make a choice with your animal, it's not you making it. You're making it collectively together. You kind of hear we've heard the paradigm, right? Like, I rescued this dog. And then you hear the opposite. This dog rescued me. But truthfully, your energies attracted each other. And that's why no matter if it's for 3 days, 3 weeks, or 30 years, you've attracted yourself to the perfect partner, and it's just we put so much performance pressure on ourself, I think, for me, that we have to it's performative in that we're almost proving it to ourself that we can take care of this animal. It's like it's always with ourself. It's not even necessarily going out and having your dog behave perfectly on a walk. It's you have these expectations of your life inside your house with your animal, and we don't give the connection nearly enough credit.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Because that's for me personally, that is the most important thing, is the connection, not what they do. The behavior is just an expression of how they're feeling, which in itself is a miracle, because they are, again, the little things with Darcy now. Yes, she's very demonstrative, and I love that about her vibrancy. But I was just sat on the deck chair in the garden, and I've said this before, our garden's tiny, and I just picked up different stones. And I was like, which stone do you want? Is it this one? Is it that one? And there was no end game. I wasn't trying to teach her to pick stones. It was just the interaction of, let's see what she does. Does she paw at it? Does she doink it? Does she carry it off and chew it? Does she walk off and because she's bored? It's just that conversation, that experimenting, and that play. That for me is the play. That's all she wants, is that
Mm.
connection and that
Mm.
playfulness. Or the other day I was walking down the road. I took a bit of a gamble. She shouts at cyclists and motorbikes and these e-bikes that, people have battery bikes. They're really loud. And I went down a really narrow path and I thought, well, I'm going to go down it and I'm going to run. If I meet someone, it's fine. I can just grab her. And I did, of course. There was a guy whizzing up. So I just kind of put her between my legs and hung onto a collar. And she just was like, "Rah, rah," all teeth. And then I was like, yeah, let's go. And then moved on. And I just thought, I just kind of matched her energy
Mm.
and then went on. And, the guy was fine. He was whizzing off. And she didn't do anything wrong. And I anticipated it was likely to happen because we're in small quarters and the speed, yada, yada. But it's that connection. We're together. We're riding that wave together. And then she's off hunting, whatever. So I just think it's so special that
Mm.
we get
Mm. Mm.
to, and I don't think I've said it as much as I've said it before. And you said it, I think, really early on in one of the episodes, Kim or Sue, or maybe both of you. They're a different species,
Species,
for God's
yeah.
sake. And because I think we've had dogs for so long and other animals, we take it for granted
Mm.
because they are so adaptable. They're so intelligent and clever and creative. But it's like we are having this conversation. And like you said, everyone is communicating with their animals. They just think they are because they've got an idea of what it is. Every moment you're having a conversation with this alien being in your life that sheds hair and goes outside to pee, doesn't pee in the just just think don't overcomplicate it and don't take it too seriously. Scary shit is going to happen, but just they're in it and just enjoy them. Just take the pressure off.
Yes.
You know, I think what you've just said there really sums up one of the main points of this podcast and what we've discussed over the 20 the 20 episodes that we've had. It comes back to this over and over again, like take a breath, let it go. Don't take it so seriously, don't take it so personally. It's all of those things, isn't it? It's that connection, it's the communication, it's the just being there for your animal and dropping the expectations, dropping all the the judgments, all of that. If we just learn to just chill more with our animals and enjoy
Mm.
them for the, like you say, the incredible miracles that they are, that we have, that we get, the chance to spend some time with in this life. That pretty much sums up as what we're trying to share here, I think, with people through
Yeah.
our own experiences, because we weren't always like that. It's like not like we started it, like we've always been like this. We learned through different things, through relationships, how much more easy it can be and how much less stressful it can be if we start to do it this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's taken me, I'd say, 20 years of being with dogs to really get to this point.
Yeah.
But not just but because I've gone on my own self-awareness
Yes.
journey, because,
Yes. It's
you know,
part of it, isn't it?
it is part of it, and questioning the rhetoric and having those sensitive, challenging dogs' health issues, behaviors has made me seek and look for those
Mm,
people that were going to help me get
mm.
honest with myself and find out who I am. I think, and also if you have fish, like, it's funny, isn't it? I don't know where I'm going with this one, but if you have, it is the pressure and expectations we put on a dog. But if you have a tank full of fish, do we just observe them, don't we? And we're like, we'll put like different plants in there and different little houses, and we'll just observe them. And I don't know, we think they're really cool, but we don't do that with our dogs, do we? We kind of put all of these real pressures and no one says when they have friends round, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed by my fish." Like, they don't, or I mean, maybe they do, I don't know, but it is a funny one, isn't it?
No, it is. I have this vision in my head now. And I also have and I also have this vision of like a school of ants. They're all just sitting at little desks learning how to open peony flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, we think we have to go outside of ourselves to learn so many things. And I think, Sue, one thing you just said, and you both were saying it, but we get to share our life with dogs. We
Yeah.
don't have to. And it's the have to or should versus the get to. And I think we just don't own the miracle of sharing our life with a different species and how
Yeah.
beautiful it is. But we keep trying to do what someone else did that made them happy and have this relationship that we were in awe of. When realistically, Rachel, I love hearing how you just play which rock do you want or dress up with your dog because you're just finding your own way. And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be really honest and probably get myself into a lot of trouble by saying this,
Yeah.
but I love the idea of ace-free work, but I am a minimalist with stuff. Like, it made me physically ill to watch someone set up a free work room, and I love the idea. I absolutely love everything about it, but the thought of having a garage full of shit that I have to put out and pick up all the time, and I can't I can't do it. And so it's like it's just never but right, we go out and instead of putting a bunch of stuff out, maybe we take a scented toy and put that behind a tree or something, right? And it's just not a lot of stuff then.
Yeah.
And here comes
But,
Zor.
Kim, it's when you're talking, it reminds me of like little kids. We go out and we buy a shitload of toys for them and the latest, gadget that's gonna make them more intelligent by the time they're 20 or whatever it is. But really, put a box in a room with the child and they're as happy as Larry. And it's the same with dogs. Give them the most simple thing, just put a box there and they figure out to put it on their heads, to climb it, to rip it apart, to sit on it, all of these
Yeah.
things. And it's the simplest thing in the world. And yeah, so it is coming back to simplicity, right? Just
Yeah.
instead of,
And, and what works for us isn't what's going to work for someone else.
yeah,
That's just
sure.
it.
Mm.
I've
There's
tried.
there's this great episode. You won't get it in your countries, but maybe it's called Motherland. in the UK, and there are 4 different mothers, I think, and there's this one mother who's a northerner, and she's really laid back, really, really laid back, and it's where they go around. They're having a birthday party, and there's all this pressure. We've got to perform. We've got to make all the cakes, and they've got one woman that does everything perfectly. Then this one, the northern lady, just gets, I think she just gets like a load of Smarties and just chucks them all on the floor, and she's like, just go and find them. It's just for the kids. That's all you need to do. Just throw them. She's like, there they are. We can go on out now for 2 hours.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple. Keep
Yeah.
it simple.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to that whole imagination thing. We take away a lot of, I think we take away a lot of dogs' intelligence by thinking we have to teach them all these things versus allowing them time to just explore their environment. Because when you think about, it reminds me of being a little girl and sitting in our garden and going and getting leaves and adding some sand and some water and making mud pies and building little things and having a whole little imaginary world happening in front of you simply with the things you find in nature or where you currently are. And I think it's the same with dogs. They go and smell. They've got this whole world through their senses that we can't see. They, getting so much information from that little leaf and, tasting that as a little puppy or, feeling the texture of it under their feet. Simple things, just being out again, out in nature, just exploring and giving time. That is a better learning experience, I believe, than, having to, as you say, manipulate or train something.
Yeah.
You're reminding me of when I was a really little kid and we would take a Folgers coffee can, an empty one, and take it out in the yard and fill it with dirt and grass and rocks. And we made, and like you put water in it
Yeah.
and we called it crudwad. So my brother and I would go out, we'd make crudwad. I don't know what we did with it, but
So simple.
a
Now,
can full of crudwad.
I had a similar game as a kid, and I'm pretty sure my oldest school friend, Rachel, listens to this podcast. So this would be funny. She'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But when I was at primary school, she used to play a game called Soft Soil, which is where you just get the soil and a stick and make it soft. I mean, it's genius, isn't it?
It is genius.
But so much you can spend, on walks. I used to grab because our family would walk a lot, living in the countryside. And I just grab a branch and drag it along with me. Like that's a version of a dog carrying a stick, isn't it? And I just loved pulling branches along. It was, just fun because you see what things come along with it, the sound it makes, the smell, it trip people up.
It is that simple though.
It is that simple.
But if it's not simple and you want to make it fun and like build a dollhouse and have a whole village of like stuff, that's
okay
great too.
Yeah, but it doesn't
too.
need to be. That's the thing. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
but
You
I
don't
think-
have to. You can if you
thought
wish
that
to, but you don't have to.
I think I thought that I needed to do all of these things for my dog for giving them like many experiences and then I found out it wasn't for me. Like I just didn't enjoy doing it. And so it's that's where I think like the pressure came from and but this is really great. Like I love this work and and now we just go out and drag a stick along.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you see all these things on Instagram, don't you? You see like dogs paddleboarding or like surfing or like climbing mountains, and I'm like, oh, I just put mine in the car and just rolled in some sheep poo.
Yeah.
And that for me was brilliant. And she comes back, like her mouth is just, she's just in it and loves it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know if that's Instagram worthy, but yeah.
Yeah.
There are ideas of what we think they need.
Mm,
Yeah.
They just need that
and
richness,
again,
that presence.
they just go with the flow, don't they? They like wake up and say, "Oh, well, what are we going to do today?" It's not like, "Oh, well, I wanted to go somewhere else today, and we're not going." They just, "Oh, we're doing
No.
this
Yeah.
today. Oh, we're doing that today. Oh, we found ourselves here today," and they just live in the moment with whatever's going on. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I just
Yeah.
had a Willy Wonka moment. I want the I want the golden goose, daddy. I want it now. Is that Veruca Salt, I think, that character?
Oh, yes.
We have
Right.
had that Veruca Salt character as a dog, though, where they're
Have you?
very needy and, like, very posh, and we don't have them now. The 2 we have now are not like that, but we have had very particular bougie dogs, and, you go with it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
They like to wear their coat when it's cold out, and
Yeah.
I mean, just like we had one Aussie in particular named Peyton, and she was a mother hen, though. Her favorite thing in the world to do was go play with the neighbor kids outside, and she would jump on every adult, but when a kid came over, she would lay down, and it was just her mothering instincts were
Mm.
amazing, and now we just have poo rolling dogs. They're just great.
Well, our Boston Terrier, just when you're saying posh dogs, I wouldn't say Cosmo was a posh dog, but he did not like walks. I'd take him on a walk and let him off lead and he'd run home. He just want to be at home, and then when he was at home, he just wanted to
Mm.
trash shit. Like he was just like, I just want to. I imagine playing heavy metal and just like trashing shit up. But taking him out in the world, he was like that. Oh no.
But, that how awesome is that? Like, did you give him stuff to tear up?
Yeah, absolutely. So he created his own game where he'd get a tennis ball, and he'd go on forever. He'd get a tennis ball, he'd run up the steps, like rag it until he's foaming at the mouth, drop it, and then it would roll off, and then he'd go and chase it. So he had this like he was very obsessive about everything. He was absolutely crazy dog. Yeah, he when I first met him, so he was Bex's dog. I mean, he kind of she was his slave. There's no there's no better way to put it. Like he completely had her wrapped. And when I joined the family, I remember him sort of looking at me like, oh no, oh no,
She's coming.
she's got me sussed. But we just started to do different things with him that meant that he was less frustrated and more, yeah, satiated. We just worked with his quirks. I'm not saying he wasn't challenging at times, but he was flippin' funny. And but yeah, he was definitely a little bit, maybe a bit posh, a bit special.
Yeah, but how many
A
people would
bit.
put pressure on themselves to say, "Oh, come on, Cosmo, we gotta go for a walk.
I
You need to get
know.
Mm,
exercise, right?" Or, "I wanna get my exercise and you need it too," right? Instead of, like, the
mm.
person going on a walk and coming back, and then he got his energy out by
Trashing
playing
stuff
ball
in the
in the house
garden.
with it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful example of exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. He was entirely selfish in a good way. Yeah, great dog.
What an awesome name too,
Cosmo, yeah. Yeah. And what was fascinating was he did things like the things that were challenging were that he would jump and grab stuff out your hand. Like as soon as you pick up your phone, he would like bark and try and grab it. Shoes, you couldn't leave shoes down because he would grab them and trash them, like throw them around and just be completely mental. As soon as Darcy came in at 3 months, she changed that stuff immediately. She I use the word pinned, but it was a pinning, but that within 24 hours at the age of 3 months old, she popped him between her legs and disciplined him. And as soon as she'd hear him doing the whole like barking, trying to take stuff off her, she'd just come in and he'd be like, okay. And he just stopped doing it. All those behaviors. We could never have done that.
Mm.
But she just came in as a baby and just disciplined in it. But as in, she only pinned him once, and then she would just give him that. I'm here. You can't do that.
Give him that mother look.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
a baby, quite incredible. Yeah.
I mean, but that's just like I can't even those like it's the best examples, this Cosmo character. That
Yes.
he's come back today to like help us with this because it's
Yeah.
and Darcy, like that's the beautiful miracle that like she came in because he
Mm.
was right. I mean, at the
He was
perfect
hard
time.
work. He was
Yeah.
hard work. We
And
needed
she
her.
comes in and she was the one like
Balances it
because
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Mm.
just had no problem being like, dude, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and he respected that from a peer.
Yeah.
Right?
He
It's kinda
really did.
like when, like, you know, your mom would tell you stuff and as a kid, and you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then as an adult, you kinda go, "Oh."
Yeah.
Like, you
Or
realize
you,
you were wrong, but,
yeah,
like
or you hear it from your mom or whatever, and it's like, oh, you just don't know what you're talking about. You
yes.
don't understand. And then you hear it from your friend. And, yeah, that's
I
exactly
said
what.
and then you go tell your mom, and she's like, "What the"
That's so true.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah.
Uh,
Brilliant.
it is, it's all a miracle. I mean, everything is
Yeah, like that whole relationship, with you and your, first having Cosmo, and then the Darcy comes in, the whole dynamic changes, and it's just like you couldn't have set that up yourself.
And what he, because a dog that lived hard, let's say he lived hard, as in, he was crazy in so many ways. When he, as he was getting older, he didn't live to a grand old age. I think he was about 12. And he was just, suddenly aging. And there was this one day, Bex had gone out and he was her absolute world. Bex had gone out and he came up to me and I'd formed it took me a long time to form an affection for him. I found him really challenging, but then I really grew to love him. And I was sat down in the hallway and he came up to me and I was like, I just burst into tears. And he was saying, I'm ready to go. And I was like, oh God, wow. Okay. So I said, Bex came home and I said, Cosmo's just told me he's ready to go. And she went, no, he's not. He's not ready to go. And I was like, well, that's okay. I'm just sharing what came through. The next day, fluid.
Mm.
So he had heart failure.
mm,
So he had all this fluid on his, I think it came back through his stomach. I can't remember where it was. So we spoke to the vets and they said he's in heart failure. We can drain it, but it'll happen again. So we got this really lovely vet who helps euthanize dogs, but in a really beautiful way. So she came, we booked her in, and normally Cosmo is completely crazy. That day we told him this is what we're doing, and he'd come into my office or officey shop, place where I worked, and had put frankincense essential oil in there, and he was not a dog for laying down. He was just always busy, 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 busy. And he came in there and he just laid in there. And then the other lady who was his mum, so there were three of us, we were all there. And when the vet came in, Cosmo basically said goodbye to each of us. So he looked at Liz and just kind of like stared at her, turned to Beck, stared at her, turned to me, and did it 2 more times. Just did this circle, like so calm and really like we'd never seen that in Cosmo before. He never behaved like that. And then just lay down, had a ginger biscuit, and went to sleep. But it would just, that it was such a beautiful memory and moment of connection, of knowing that we listened and honored his wishes. Yeah, I feel really emotional about that. He was mental in a gorgeous way. Yeah,
It's a
Cosmo.
beautiful story.
Yeah. So
Perfect miracle. It's
perfect
a
miracle.
It
perfect
is, yeah.
miracle to discuss essential oils of the day.
Mine smells really good. It's basil.
Ooh.
Yeah. And and before we jumped on the call, I made myself a ginger tea from fresh ginger. But as I'm drinking it, I can taste garlic. But I just chopped up. I made a squash soup and I sliced loads of garlic and then I used the same knife. So I've got ginger and garlic tea.
Oh, thank you, but no thank you.
Excellent.
It's actually more garlic than ginger.
Good for what ails you.
Exactly.
Sue, what do you got?
Well, I'm gonna say I love basil, by the way. Funny enough, I don't use the essential oil that much, but it's definitely my favorite culinary herb.
Mm.
I've always got to have basil on my food. I've got rose because I told you I'm really
Oh,
drawn to
yes.
roses at the moment. So I've got rose, and it's just so gentle, so beautiful. It feels like when I inhale it or I put it on me, it feels like I'm just bathing in a or lying in a bed of petals. It's just beautiful. Soft and gentle and fragrant and calming and warming and yeah, just loving it
Feminine.
at the moment.
I was at a dog event one year, like, it was a husky rescue event where it was a hike event, so it was kind of an activity, and I was a vendor at at this, and, man, 2 dogs just they were on leashes, but they got into it, let's just say, and the one dog was just walking and the other one, from my vantage point, who knows? There's always multiple perspectives, but the one that just took the brunt of it, like, that was just walking, she was kinda squealing, and I happen to have Rose, Hydrosol, actually, and I just don't even know what compelled me, but I walked over to where the dog was, and I offered her Rose Hydrosol, and she was very freaked out, and I just sprayed it on the grass, and she, like, rolled in it, and
Wow.
then I put it in my hands, and she licked it, and she went on her way, and it was like nothing happened, and she was
Wow.
cowering and shivering, so, yeah, roses, that's an amazing I always keep the Hydrosol and the essential oil for sure.
Mm. What do they say? A hug in the
Hug in a
bottle. A hug
hug
in
in a
the
bottle.
bottle. Mm.
Yeah, and it really is, it just really and it
Mm.
helped calm the people.
Yeah.
Like, the owners were just freaked out because they weren't, they didn't see it coming, so, yeah.
Mm.
It was wild, but it was just another situation. I was really happy I had my kitten.
Again, a little
Perfect.
miracle that you happened to be there at that time and that place and,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, pretty wild. I have a blend today called Flow,
Oh,
Oh,
and it's, blue tansy, terebinth,
what?
pine, jamarosa, lavandin. Yes, it
What
smells
was the second
delightful.
one in that order? I've never heard of that.
Terebinth.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I would have to, like does it say?
paraben.
The resin of the maritime pine tree,
Wow.
Right.
sacred exudate,
Mm.
reconnects you to breath and earth, acts like a bridge between overwhelm and grounded release.
Ooh.
I
Like that.
just
I like the idea of that.
It's
Flow.
delightful.
Mm.
That's a good
That's
one.
gonna be with me all day, I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
Amazing. So,
Mm.
any last words before we sign off?
No, flow, simplicity. It's been wonderful, ladies. I've so enjoyed this first season, and yeah, I think we've discussed it already. We're going to have something new coming up in season two. Not sure
Yeah.
yet exactly what that's going to look like, but definitely yeah, some new energies and see where it goes. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to taking a break in as well, going camping, have a little holiday, enjoy the summer.
Mm.
Yeah. That's from me. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just wanna say thank you to both of you. I love you both, and this has just been an amazing first season. Looking forward to all the surprises in season 2, and, yeah, gonna take a month here and just enjoy summer. So, thank you very
Enjoy
much,
all the
and
little miracles around you every day.
yes, notice them,
Notice
and
them, yeah.
please reach out, ask us questions, like and subscribe. Thus endeth season 1 of Unruly by Nature. We will be back July 8th. Until then,
Bye-bye.
Bon
bye.
voyage.